Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. I've thrown a lot of love towards Snap-on lately, so I thought I'd circle back and cover 5 of my favorite Klein pliers. And just to be clear about it, it isn't I've got 5 pair of Klein pliers, so they're my favorites. I actually counted, and I have over 25 different kinds of Klein pliers around the homestead. So I looked through and thought, what do I use the most, or what do I grab? In fact, sometimes even over Snap-on. It turns out I could easily come up with 5 that I thought I'd highlight. So number 5, I'm going to say, is this beefy pair of Journeyman Klein Needlenose pliers. This is a large pair. It's got a lot of beef up in the tip, and that's what I like. If you look at the size of that, that's a much larger footprint, say, than if you compare it to, the Snap-on Talon grip. Now, I still love my Talon grips, but I do find that for like powerful needle nose situations, this is one of my favorites. I also like the grip. It's a much better grip, say, than the kind of just the vinyl dip that's popular for a lot of pliers. Instead, it's got this heavy-duty dual material with some ridges, kind of for both indexing and maybe to keep your hand from sliding. But a very large pair of pliers, got cutters, got a stripping hole, and then nice, large needle noses that are plenty small for good precision, but also you're not too worried about them spinning sideways, twisting, probably even are breaking off. So I find I grab these quite often. So the next one is my Klein Linemens. And these are also, I believe, in the Journeyman series, maybe Journeyman 2000. They're a very large pair of Linemens, but silky smooth. Look at that. That's how pliers should come from the factory. No other play, but very easy to operate. And when you get to something this large, if you have to start adding a bunch of force to it, it just makes any precision work a little tougher. Large cutters, large, great big jaws, and again, the handles that I like. So, number 5, number 4. Okay, number 3 is this guy. And what this is the tiny precision needle nose. And I was thinking, why do I grab this one over maybe the Snap-on? Here's the Talon grip version. And I discovered there are 2 things that I really like about this. One, as you can see, it does have a little longer beak and a narrower one. So generally, if I need a plier this small, it's to get in a really tight space or grab something with more precision. For general small pulling, or pushing, pulling, twisting stuff, I don't mind these, and the handle I actually like better on the Snap-on than this dipped vinyl. But I do find I grab these for a lot of things. So they made the list, these little tiny ones. And they are, I have larger ones, and I do like these as well. But I do find myself kind of leaning towards these for a lot of tasks, or I often go, instead of these, I might jump up to the Snap-ons. But these are pretty good too. Next one. So we got 2 more. I'm going to say these. And these are a stripper crimper cutter. It's got a heavy, better than vinyl dipped handle. The cutters are inside underneath the pivot, which gives you very nice nippers right at the tip. And that's great for, being able to cut into or cut wire that's very close to a surface. It's hard to do with other snips that might have the cutters down below. And there's an amazing amount of force once you move the cutter down here, because you can grab the plier and literally pull the wire off versus trying to manipulate it way up at the tip and try to try to strip it off if you're working with the heavier gauge wire. They are very large, yeah, so I still have some smaller cutters and strippers, but I found that I really like this part up here, having the cutting teeth right up at the top to do my snipping. So I do find I grab these quite often. And then last, probably could guess, would be these gigantic dikes. They're an angled dike. They are not a flush cut. I do find myself grabbing these for a lot of tasks that aren't just cutting wires. You know, it might be some finer machining metal work there. I cut lots of materials with them, I mean, that are not non-metal materials. And again, look at that. I mean, that is so smooth. And to have a tool that large that is just that silky smooth. So I find I grab these quite often. And I don't have anything else like these in the toolbox. I do have other Linemens, I do have other strippers, other Needlenose, other small precision Needlenose, but I don't have anything else quite like this. So that's kind of my number one. And a couple of runner-ups. This particular one here has larger cutters, but also a cable cutter. And the cable cutter basically keeps the cable in, you know, small wire cables or wire rope, keeps it aligned in kind of a circular shape as you're snipping it, so you don't get that splay and that uneven cutting. So for some things I do like these. Hybrid pliers, generally, if I could only have one pair, you know, I tend to lean towards the hybrids, but I don't grab them when I can choose an individual one. But they are good, solid pliers. Used to use these. These were my flush cuts. They're excellent. They're inexpensive. You know, between, I don't know what they are, 10, 15 bucks. But of course, as you probably could guess, once I got my snap-on flush cuts, these kind of were relegated to the back of the toolbox. This is one that I'm not that happy with. This is a kind of one of those auto strippers. It supposedly grabs the wire and holds it here and then kind of strips it out quite easily. Makes things fast. You've got a cutter, you've got, you know, a couple other little things you can do with it, but in general, I found that quality wire, a lot of it just slides right through here. This isn't, you know, you can see I can easily just stick my finger in here, and you know, I think it needs a little bit more pressure or more texture right here to hold the wire. This part works. This part needs a little bit more work, but then they were under 30 bucks, and they look like they weren't that easy to manufacture. Lots of pieces, but inexpensive wire where the insulation is non-real tight. These do seem to work pretty well, but otherwise that's kind of a dud. Anyway, so those are my top 5 and a few extra Klein, almost said snap-on, Klein pliers that are go-tos that I like and I really think are worth the investment. With that, Doc out.